And I want everybody to know that before I say what I'm going to say, I will remind everybody, I'm a dad. I've got 2 daughters. I'm an uncle. I've got 9 nieces. I'm a little brother. I have 4 older sisters. And I'm a boss. And 70% of my staff are female. So I'm kind of surrounded by women all the time. And that would make somebody in my position, one would think, a bit hesitant to say some of the things that I'm about to say. For the record, I don't give a shit. Somebody needs to say this stuff, so I'm going to say it. Now, last week, I felt the need to address Jada Pinkett Smith. I would like to remind the world out there, I didn't say a disrespectful word about her, and I'm not going to. I would never disrespect somebody's wife. I'm not going to do that. What I said was, to crystallize my position, is that it was really, really, really important that Jada Pinkett Smith stopped emasculating her husband in public. The point that I'm making is, damn, where's your compassion? Where's your decency? Where's your respect for marital vows? To honor thy husband. And whatever you're going to do, I'm not saying don't feel the way that you feel or don't do the things that you're doing privately. That's your business. It's none of our business. My point is, it's none of our business. We shouldn't be in your relationship. You shouldn't be on a media circuit talking about your husband like that. There shouldn't have been red table talks about entanglements while he's sitting right in front of you for the world to witness. I mean, damn. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen. I got so worried watching Jada talk about Will Smith over the years. At one point in time, I thought she was going to go for the gut and start talking about endow or endowments per se, as opposed to entanglements. That's what I thought was going to happen. I mean, damn, that's how nervous I got for him. Because I don't give a damn who you are. No man wants to hear a woman talking like that. Children going out there and talking about how they wish Tupac was still alive for their mama. I mean, damn. Tupac is dead. God rest his soul. I assume and hope to God he's in heaven because of all the contributions he's made to our society. Regardless of his troubles, he was phenomenal, a genius. I miss him all the time. But I was like, damn, I missed him for a different reason. Other people missed him for a different reason, it appears. We didn't need to know all that. But you told us, or your family told us, or somebody alluded to it on Red Table Talk, or one of your interviews, and now the book, Worthy. Come on. That's all I'm saying. But leave it to Will, the hero, to come to the rescue again. Because in the aftermath of the response to his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith's statements about their quote-unquote turbulent relationship in her forthcoming book, Worthy, which will be out tomorrow, by the way, in an email to the New York Times, this brother, Will Smith, listen to what he had to say. He expressed that Jada Pinkett's revelations about their marriage in her memoir, quote, woke him up, end quote. He realized, quote, she had lived a life more on the edge and that, quote, she is more resilient, clever, and compassionate than he'd understood. I could use the word embarrassment. But you know what the appropriate word is here? Uncomfortable. Because once again, Will Smith is missing the point that people who are being critical of Jada Pinkett Smith is trying to make. He's talking about how she feels. Most folks are talking about why we got to be the ones that know about it. That's all. Will knows what he's done and hasn't done. He knows what he's been as a husband and what he hasn't been. He knows what trials and tribulations he's put us through. The point is, everybody else ain't supposed to know. The point is, when you talk about honoring and respecting your significant other, what comes with that is the simple revelation or acknowledgement to keep your business private. That's all. See, when Will Smith gets into all of this other stuff, it reminds me again of what he did to Chris Rock. You want to apologize. You want to get in front of the camera. You want to tell the world about how you reached out to him. You Will Smith, dog. You Will Smith. You can't get in front of Chris Rock if you really needed to. You really can't get to him. You knew where he was going to be performing. You know what cities he was going to be in. You knew where to find him. You knew when and where. You're as connected as they come in Hollywood. You don't know how to get to Chris Rock face to face. You don't know how to talk to him man to man. You don't know how to look at him and apologize. You don't know how to look at the rest of the world and instead of pointing out how, yo, man, I made a mistake and blah, blah, blah. You don't know how to really dig deep in your soul. And just like you were brave enough to go up there and slap a man on national television, international television, for the world to see, you can't man up and go like this. Damn, I really messed up, man. That's as low as I could possibly go. I'm ashamed of myself. Did we hear that? Did we hear that? And see, so when you say stuff like this, all that does is harken people back to March 2022. When you did what you did, and supposedly she didn't know what you were going to do, and she didn't realize what you had done until you were walking back. But you were still cool. You still sat there. Y'all still partied afterwards without a care in the world. When Chris Rock could have had you arrested because the cops were waiting to put you in cuffs, and he refused to do it. Because it was left up to Chris Rock. You do know that, Will. So all I'm saying is, damn, y'all. And now here we go. Forget Jada for a second, because Jada, I wish you nothing but happiness. If the book is that important to you, hell, I hope it's a bestseller. I know what it feels like. I'm a New York Times bestseller. Will Smith, if all that matters to you is make her happy, you know what? Find out who else she wouldn't mind you slapping. Slap them too. See where it gets you. Since that's how you feel, if that's how you feel that way. But here's the real deal. Here's where it gets deep. This is why I'm revisiting this subject. I've had people roll up on me and say to me, yo, Stephen A., you're not feeling her, man. She's doing this for the women. Let me say this. I want to emphasize that these are my comments and my comments alone, and it belongs to nobody else. If you're the transgender community, step aside. I'm not talking about you. If you are of the gay community, step aside. I'm not talking about you. But to every heterosexual woman out there that wants to keep a man, I would strongly advise you not to follow in her footsteps. I'm warning you. From what I'm told, and I haven't double checked these statistics, so don't hold me accountable for this. But women essentially outnumber men better than 15-1. That doesn't take into account the gay community, the transgender community, or the incarcerated community. You add all of those numbers up, the number's bigger. And with all the options that men have, I think it's safe to say that we'll choose somebody who would prefer not to emasculate their man before we would choose a woman who would choose to do so. And emasculation comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes. You can be insulting. You can be volatile. You can be argumentative. You can be petty. You can be vicious. In Jada's case, you can be public. That is the issue. You cannot disrespect and emasculate your man and expect things to end well. And by the way, it ain't always by directly insulting him. It can also happen by simply publicizing whatever negative feelings you may have, whatever struggles you may encounter. This is not a question or not a discussion about the particulars of Jada Pinkett's relationship with Will Smith, nor of any woman with any man out there, only about your desire to publicize it. It's none of our business. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I don't want anybody to sit up there and look at me and think I'm judging Jada Pinkett Smith for what she feels, or Will Smith for what he feels, or other women and other men for what's going on in their relationship. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying, what has happened to us? Are we so addicted to attention that we got to sit up there and spread our personal business about an ongoing relationship to the masses? I mean, if you're going to go that far, why don't you make a sex tape? You're sitting there every day. You want to tell us everything and show us everything else. Why don't you just get loose and get it over with? I mean, shit. What do you need? You ain't inviting people to your house in Calabasas, are you? Or wherever you live. You know the lines. You know when certain things are supposed to be private. Why are you acting like you don't know? That's all I'm saying. Nothing more. I watched people in their comments this weekend and everybody was going the route of, like I'm trying to dissect. I'm doing the total opposite. I'm not trying to dissect and get into Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith's business. I'm not trying to get into anybody's relationship. I'm saying, why are you allowing us to be there? I have people in my life. You barely know who they are. People who work for me, people who are family members, etc. I have a woman. She knows. Anybody who's ever dated me knows. Anybody who's ever been in my life knows. You utter a syllable about my ass in public without my permission, your ass is gone. I don't give a shit who you are. My life is my business. I'm that way with my family, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, everybody. Don't get me started with people who work for me. Try me. Everything is not our business. Privacy matters. That's all I was trying to say, Jada. That's all I'm trying to say, Will. To all of y'all out there, I'm trying to say it to y'all because you see, at the end of the day, Will Smith got a few $100 million. He's a superstar in Hollywood, and she is his wife. And from what I read, there's no prenup. And by the way, we in LA, California, that is, and it's community property up out here too. So guess what? She good. Most of you women out there don't have it like that. Don't go out there thinking that you can emasculate your man publicly and it's going to work for you to your benefit. I can assure you, you are wrong. For the vast majority of you, it won't work out for you at all. It will not end well. I can promise you that, especially if you run into somebody like me. We should mind our business, and we should keep our business to ourselves. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. By the way, before I get to my text messages, or not text messages, but social media questions, one last thing I forgot to read that Will Smith said, which has had people wanting to throw up. He said, according to an NBC News report, after reading Jada's upcoming memoir, he gave her a standing ovation and said, quote, "I applaud and honor you." He wrote in a letter to Jay Shetty, who relayed the message to Pinkett Smith on an upcoming episode of his podcast, On Purpose. "If I had read this book 30 years ago, I definitely would have hugged you more. I'll start now. Welcome to the Authors Club. I love you endlessly. Now go get some Merlot and take a rest." It's his business. I mean, people can have whatever comments they want. I respect the hell out of Will Smith. And I respect Jada. I just want them to respect each other enough to keep their business private. We don't need to know all that. That's all I'm saying.